What's up guys, it's Tommy here, and in this video we will talk about Anthony Gordon and his potential move to Liverpool, because there is a massive transfer update that I want to give you about Anthony Gordon, because Anthony Gordon has already agreed a transfer to Liverpool. Newcastle and Liverpool had an agreement as well, but in the end Newcastle managed to get out of selling their major star Anthony Gordon because of the profit and sustainability rules. They were in danger of breaching that, but they managed to sell a couple of players, so that's why the deal didn't happen. But Luke Edwards in the Telegraph is reporting that Anthony Gordon already told his England teammates that his transfer to Liverpool was going to happen, and Gareth Southgate was aware that the player was distracted by the talk, and this was one of the reasons why he wasn't involved more at the Euros, which is absolute nonsense, because Mark Gay and Ivan Toney all summer have been linked away for moves away from their clubs, and they managed to play, especially Mark Gay, he managed to play a lot of minutes for England. So I think we can safely say Gareth Southgate just hates Liverpool and anyone connected to Liverpool. And in this video we will talk about Luis Diaz and his incredible form and the tactical tweaks that Arne Slot made to make Luis Diaz even better, because Luis Diaz is playing like a world-class attacker. He already has 5 goals and 1 assist this season, and he has been in scintillating form. So if you enjoyed these videos, make sure to leave a like. Also, let me know in the comments below your score prediction for the Wolves-Liverpool game. I predict a hard-fought 2-1 Liverpool win, but I really hope that Liverpool can keep their winning run going. It's really important that we win, because Man City play Newcastle away from home, and that's a tough game for them. Hopefully they will slip up there. Luke Edwards in the Telegraph writes, there is no point pretending otherwise. Gordon was very keen on a move to his boyhood club Liverpool in the summer, and he even told England teammates that the move was going to happen. And Gareth Southgate was aware that he was distracted by the talk, and the Telegraph newspaper understands that this was one of the reasons why he wasn't involved more at the Euros, which is absolutely ridiculous. Gareth Southgate is an absolutely awful manager, and it's a miracle that he went to all these finals with England, seeing how tactically inept he was at the top level. Gordon played a handful of minutes in the group stage as a substitute, and then he hasn't played again. England went all the way to the final, and Anthony Gordon didn't play 1 minute in the knockout stages. Newcastle were in trouble. They were in danger of breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, and they were being forced to consider selling Anthony Gordon against Newcastle's will. Liverpool, although they were interested in Anthony Gordon, they did not follow up on their initial interest, and no official bid was made. Newcastle solved their PSR concerns by selling Minte to Brighton and Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest instead. And I think that's a little bit fishy, selling Elliot Anderson for 40 million. I mean, Minte for 35 million to Brighton, that's a fair market value deal in my opinion. Jakuba Minte has been pretty good for Brighton, and he's a sensational talent. But Elliot Anderson, who only played a few Premier League games for Newcastle, he wasn't even a regular starter. 40 million pounds for a player like that. When Alexis McAllister, who is a world champion, world-class midfielder, cost Liverpool 35 million. Yes, because it's a release clause, but still, that's ridiculous, these prices. Anthony Gordon was swiftly informed by Newcastle after Newcastle solved their money issues. He was not for sale at any price, and he must bury any disappointment he felt at not getting his dream move to Liverpool. Because remember, Anthony Gordon is from Liverpool, and he was growing up a Liverpool fan. His idol was Steven Gerrard. He said the best stadium atmosphere is Anfield, and privately he said he would love to play for Liverpool. That was always going to be easier said than done. Sources have indicated that Anthony Gordon remained unsettled throughout the summer. Although his behavior has not caused friction, he has not demanded a move, and he has worked hard in training because he is a very good professional. But Southgate's excuses are wild. These are the comments on Liverpool's Reddit forum under this thread. You are mulling a transfer, so obviously you can't handle playing football for 90 minutes. That's what Gareth Southgate's mentality is. towards Anthony Gordon. And I mean, that's clear that he has some sort of agenda against Liverpool, not starting Trent Alexander-Arnold in most of his games as England manager is an absolutely ridiculous stance. I mean, how can you say Kyle Walker or Kieran Trippier are better right backs than a Trent Alexander-Arnold? I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold is absolutely world class. He's the best right back in the world. Kyle Walker is a clown defensively for Man City, and he was at fault for the most goals England conceded at the Euros. And Kieran Trippier is not even a regular starter at Newcastle anymore. And I think this actually played out for Liverpool well, because imagine if we bought Anthony Gordon, then we would have sold Luis Diaz, and that would have been a disaster, because Anthony Gordon is not as good as Luis Diaz. And Arne Slot's tactical tweaks, which we will talk about in a minute in this video, has elevated Luis Diaz's performance to an even higher level. And also Diaz and Gakpo both are in the form of their lives, and we bought Chiesa, who can also play on the left wing. So the left wing position is, I think, the last position that Liverpool should be looking at to transfer in a player. There is an argument that Anthony Gordon could play right wing as well, to be an understudy of Mo Salah. But Liverpool signing Chiesa for 10 million instead of Anthony Gordon for 75 million, I think is the best transfer decision that we could have made in the summer transfer window. The only way that Anthony Gordon's move to Liverpool makes sense in the future is if Luis Diaz says publicly that he wants to transfer to Barcelona or Real Madrid and he wants to move there to Spain. I think Real Madrid are not looking to buy left winger anytime soon. They have Vinicius who can play there. They have Mbappe. Luis Diaz is not getting in the Real Madrid starting 11 ahead of them. But if Luis Diaz is sold to Barcelona somehow, Barcelona can manage to put together a package that is appealing to Liverpool. That's the only way that I can see Anthony Gordon moving to Liverpool if Luis Diaz leaves. But I don't want Luis Diaz to leave. And the way Luis Diaz is playing right now, we should demand even more money. Now, the Daily Mail is reporting that Newcastle are on the verge of agreeing a new 6-year contract for Anthony Gordon, which I think makes it almost impossible that Liverpool will sign him in the near future, because Newcastle can ask for almost any money now that Anthony Gordon signs a new 6-year deal. It's not official yet, so the contract is not signed there yet, but the report says it's very close to being agreed. Eddie Howe said, "We love Anthony Gordon. I would love him to commit his future here. We would love him to stay long term at Newcastle and continue his excellent start to his career here." When you look at the broader piece of what he has done since he has arrived at Newcastle, I think he has been magnificent for us. We need to try and help him to get back to his very best levels, and if that means signing a new contract, and I'm all for that, to help him be settled and concentrate on his football. And the new journalist in the Daily Mail is reporting that in August, Newcastle started preliminary talks with Anthony Gordon, and those discussions have accelerated, and there has been significant progress made in recent weeks in the Anthony Gordon contract talks. And club sources are confident that the final details will be signed off shortly, and Anthony Gordon wants to sign a new contract and rediscover his best form in a Newcastle shirt. He's yet to find the consistency of last season, but there is a feeling inside Newcastle that he's close to hitting the levels that won him the call up to the England national team. And Liverpool and Arsenal are both interested in Anthony Gordon, but if he signs a new contract, I think for a few years at least, Anthony Gordon is not going anywhere. I don't think anybody would be crazy to spend 70-80 million pounds on Anthony Gordon, especially when you can sign a winger from Europe for just 10 million. And I would argue Chiesa is a better player than Anthony Gordon. Yes, he's a few years older, but by not much, and I think Chiesa for 10-12 million has been an absolute bargain. He said about the tactical tweaks that Arne Slot asked of him. He said primarily Arne Slot, the coach, wants his wide players in wide positions. The wingers are always out wide. Mo Salah is maybe a little bit more narrow sometimes, but not always, whereas I'm always holding the width. But when the ball arrives with Mo Salah or Trent Alexander-Arnold on the other side, I have to run inside and be there as a central attacker to be in a good position in relation to the goal. And look at the game against Man United at Old Trafford. Both times Luis Diaz is in the box when Mo Salah is crossing from the right wing, and Luis Diaz has scored a few goals now like that in the Premier League. He said, I always try to find the diagonal run to get one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Those runs and one-on-ones are my specialties. The coach asks that of all of us. What I have in terms of my characteristics is what he wants from his wingers. Arne Slot always tries to instill a lot of tactical details in us on the training pitch. He works hard in that sense. He asks us to always run back to defend, form a good defensive block, and then go on the attack as well. If you defend better, obviously you are going to attack better as well. So he wants us to think about the defenders and the defensive side of things, but also while enjoying ourselves, because it's always important to have that enjoyment even knowing you have a job to do. And the training sessions are helping a lot, Luis Diaz says. The coach always tries to correct the movements you need to make in order to be well positioned to arrive in front of the goal better and to score more goals. So that really helps a lot. Also, the confidence the coach and the team give you when everyone is playing well and things are going well. I think confidence is really important, but then there is also the hard work I'm doing every day on my finishing, on my movements. And I always maintained that we shouldn't sell Luis Diaz unless a crazy offer of 70, 80 to 100 million pounds arrives, because I still felt we haven't seen the full potential of Luis Diaz under Jurgen Klopp. That wasn't Jurgen Klopp's fault. It was because Luis Diaz had an injury-hit season. He also had a season where his parents got kidnapped, and you can't underestimate how much toll that took mentally. For that, Luis Diaz's confidence, his frame of mind wasn't 100% at all, and that's not his fault. It's just the circumstances were like that around him. But this season he's fully settled down. He is fully focused on Liverpool, and Arne Slot helps him tactically as well. And the news outlet Anfield Watch is reporting that Luis Diaz has officially beaten Liverpool's £75 million attempt to replace him. And I don't think that was because, it was an attempt to replace Luis Diaz. It was more of Liverpool saw an opportunity to send Joe Gomez to Newcastle and get Anthony Gordon for basically 35 million plus Joe Gomez, and that wouldn't have been the worst deal. And now let's talk about the noticeable change in Luis Diaz's tactical role. Luis Diaz's output in front of goal in the previous seasons have fallen short a little bit of expectations. He scored 24 goals in 98 appearances, which is 1 goal every 4 games. All of Diogo Jota, Mo Salah, and I think even Cody Gakpo has a better goals to games ratio. Luis Diaz played the most games and the most minutes out of our 5 attackers last season, and he scored the least amount of goals. Arne Slot, however, harnessed this potential to make critical adjustments to Luis Diaz's game. Dr. Phil Barter pointed out in Anfield Index's Under Pressure podcast that Luis Diaz has transitioned from being a street footballer to a more refined tactical player. His role no longer relies on instinctive solo bursts down the left flank. Instead, Luis Diaz is now operating more centrally and finding himself in higher quality scoring positions. Arne Slot has instructed Luis Diaz, as Luis Diaz told us himself, to run into the box when Mo Salah or Trent Alexander-Arnold has the ball on the right wing, so he gets into goal scoring positions more often. And Luis Diaz's expected goals per shot have risen from 0.13 to 0.19 this season. The numbers may seem small, but they are indicative of his transformation into a more efficient and calculated goal threat. And Luis Diaz is also more clinical in front of goal, which is an obvious massive improvement. And Trent Alexander-Arnold said, Luis Diaz looks hungrier to score goals. He's getting himself into the right areas, making the right decisions. And this season, Luis Diaz's positioning has been central to his uptick in form. He's finding the ball in areas that offer better chances to score, and the results are telling. Tactical innovations, including how the fullbacks operate in his new tactical system, has helped Luis Diaz get more goal contributions. Both Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are now deployed in a more natural fullback role compared to the inverted positions they occupied under Jurgen Klopp. This subtle shift has had a big impact on the team's attacking dynamics. Trent's movement and positioning now provide more options for Diaz to move, to drift inside and occupy more dangerous positions in the box, in and around the penalty area, where Luis Diaz is the most dangerous in terms of scoring goals. Luis Diaz is not just stuck on the wing, looking to cut inside and shoot from distance. He's receiving the ball in central areas where his scoring chances are significantly higher. And now that he is getting into better positions, his finishing improved a lot. And the competition for places has definitely sharpened Luis Diaz's focus, because now Liverpool have 6 world-class attackers, so if you are not performing, sooner or later you will be out of the team. Players like Cody Gakpo, Chiesa, Jota competing for attacking spots. Luis Diaz has thrived in this environment that demands excellence and top output. In the last few seasons, Luis Diaz's significant flaw was probably his lack of composure in front of goal. He often found himself in promising positions, but he rushed his shots or found his efforts blocked by defenders, or he shot wide. We are witnessing a different Luis Diaz, one who takes his time, makes quicker decisions, and plays with greater calmness in high pressure moments. So just look at the goals that Luis Diaz scored this season and you see a player who has much better finishing, much more composed in front of goal, much more ruthless, much more focused, clinical, and that's what you want. So credit to Arne Slot, but also credit to Luis Diaz for working on his game and being a much better player this season. And also the reports are that Wolves are struggling with an illness, a kind of virus going around the team. So quite a few Wolves first team players who would have started might not be able to start because of this illness. So we could see maybe a 20-year-old centre-back making his debut for Wolves. And Liverpool now absolutely have to win that game. It was a must-win game before, but now it's an even more must-win game. So the pressure will be on, but I'm really excited to watch Liverpool play again. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.